Welcome to Wednesdays with Wayne. It's early March and spring is one of my favorite times of the year, although there's a little bit of a love-hate relationship because everything is so busy and so chaotic in terms of garden chores, and yet the ground comes alive, so I love to see that happen in the springtime. Time to get the garden tools out, but today we're just going to do an assessment of the yard and then I'll explain some more maintenance things in future videos. Right now I'm looking at the last of my containers, still looking good. This one happens to be in quite a bit of shade, so that container is still amazing for the first part, middle of March. The coral bells took a little bit of deer damage. They munched some of the ends of the leaves off, but they're going to be just perfectly fine. We'll start cutting those back to the crowns, but leave the crowns alone. Again, we'll talk about that in detail. Look at the bulbs coming up. Daffodils, tulips, iris, all kinds of fun bulbs are going to start to come up. People get a little bit worried when the snow comes and we still have the cold nights, but that does not affect the bulbs. You don't have to worry about protecting or doing anything different with the bulbs. I've got a lot of hellebores in the yard. You're going to see a lot of cold damage on them. They were semi-evergreen, but again, we'll take care of that soon. They're going to be blooming in the next few weeks. The hydrangeas have some great winter interest yet. The 9-barks, we've done cut a little bit back in the fall, but we're going to do some heavier pruning here in the springtime. Ornamental grasses, we had quite a bit of snow, a couple very heavy events where it did knock them down a little bit, but still not terrible for winter interest. Grasses right now, when it is a nice day, I like to get started with the grasses first. That's one of the first things on my list. So I'll get the gas shears out, and even in February and March, I'll spend a lot of time getting all the grasses cut down so that they don't blow all over the yard and make a huge mess. I'm going down to the newer area where I've done the fire pit and newly landscaped area. Here there's quite a few roses. The roses look okay. You see that there's a lot of mulch still left around them naturally from the leaves. I'm not going to remove that for another few weeks, probably not till the end of March. I want to make sure that the heaviest cold and freezes are done with, and then I'm probably going to end up cutting those back by 1/2 or 2/3. And again, some more of the grasses. This was a conocloa or Japanese forest grass, so that'll be cut down to just a couple inches above the ground. I'm over in an area in my yard where I have some of the smooth hydrangeas. I actually have in the background some of the oak leaf hydrangeas, have had some deer damage on those. Again, we're going to do an entire video on hydrangea pruning, but some of the stuff is going to need to be pruned back, some light pruning. Tree form of hydrangea. Iteas or sweet spires look like they've got a little bit of dead tips on them. Again, quite a few of the hydrangeas in through here. I'm looking at some of my butterfly bushes that I recently planted. Should have had a little bit more mulch on top of these, and again, we don't want to uncover those yet, but I think they're still going to be okay. I'm seeing some good growth kind of that was covered up. A little bit of deer coming through the area. We can see some signs of that, so they seem to have actually annihilated some of my Fothergilla, so we'll do some light pruning on that as well. I put a bunch of perennials through this area as well as shrubs. You can see some of the taller perennials. This I can go ahead and take down to the ground at any time if there's some warm days again in February and March and the first part of April. Hydrangea pruning, again, we'll talk about a little bit later, some more Fothergillas. And as we come to this last area, I planted some Deervilla last year. I'll actually end up doing a light pruning on these Deervilla just to shape them up. Most of the evergreens will be left alone. Grasses, again, will be taken down to just a few inches above the ground. And then let me end with the hibiscus. I don't want to do anything with these quite yet, but as we go down and kind of uncover, you can see the green left on the hibiscus. Again, we will eventually cut these down to where there is just green, and this can be done probably mid to end of March. So thank you for joining Wednesdays with Wayne, sponsored by Niemeyer's Landscape Supply. And remember, beautiful landscapes start here.